I truly believe these are the best 6 luxury SLGs to have because they are a no fuss grab and go that you'll use every single day. Trust me, I've been using these for a while now and would not trade them for anything. And I also believe I'm not missing anything, which is also a really good sign. So I thought, let me just share with you what's been working well for me. So without further delay, I'm going to get right into it. The first thing I'm going to share with you is as a reminder on what helps keeps me organized. I do not buy those pocketbook or handbag organizers inserts. I believe using these because it saves me money and it's just easier for me that I'm not switching a lot of things around. I just take these same 6 things and throw them in whatever handbag or tote that I'm using. First thing I use to help keep me organized is my planner. Yes, I'm still a paper girl, so I have not transitioned to the other side with using my iPhone. So I still use my paper. So I use the Epi, which they call the small ring binder calendar book or agenda book. And so I use the double-sided, which the view is for a full week. You can pick the option, I believe, for a daily page or a monthly page. I like a weekly page, and that's what I've been using for years. And then on the flip side, you have some slots for cards if you like there. And then on the back, there's just one big pocket there. And this, once again, this is the small ring agenda cover. And you can see here that it comes in like 5 other different covers that you can buy, but this is the black Epi that I've had for a long time. And believe it or not, when I purchased this one, it was actually already pre-owned. And as you can see, probably this has got to be maybe 6-7 years later. There is still nothing wrong with this handbag. Although I'm very careful, like I don't really drop it or anything, but it just shows you how well that it's still holding up. And so I don't know how old it is. I've had it for at least 7 years, and so I don't remember how old it was when the year it is when I first purchased it. But I absolutely love it. It still works very well for me. So if you're thinking about it, it's a really good size and it's definitely lightweight to definitely throw inside in a bag or two. Second thing that helps keeps me organized, once again, I'm a paper person, so I still write down everything. So this year I did treat myself to a Hermes notebook. I've always carried a notebook. I've always fluctuated between this size or the next size up. For Hermes, they call this the small version, and then you have a MM, and then you have the large. So I decided to go with the small. I thought if it doesn't work, and I can always upgrade and do the medium, which I'm really used to that size. But I also know by going to that medium size, it tends to make my bags a little heavier than what I want. So I was trying to downsize to make things a little lighter. And so far this size really has worked out well for me. And so it's really a simple leather, the pebble green calfskin leather, and it's really soft, nothing sturdy. There's no inside pockets or anything. And then the insert is just the lined paper from Hermes that you can buy. They did come out with a newer, look harder, a little sturdier version of a notebook, a tad bit smaller than this one. I'll actually insert the picture here now. I thought this was very beautiful. So if you do want something that maybe has like an inside pocket or something a little bit sturdier than this one, you may want to give it a try. What I also recommend though is just from what I saw that was available on the website and colors to choose from for these notebooks, I think they only showed 3 colors. This notebook, all of their notebooks come in so many amazing, beautiful colors. So like when you think about all the beautiful colors of some of their handbags and their shoes, those are some of the same colors that these notebook covers come in. So I would definitely make an appointment to stop into your Hermes store if you're really thinking about it and look at all the beautiful colors. Even if you're thinking about something in the green, there's like 3 different color greens that this notebook comes in. I chose this one because it's more like a grayish green. But there are so many beautiful ones. So definitely stop into the store before you make your final decision and just don't go by what's available on the site, because it does not show nowhere near on what's available to buy and choose from between the 3 different sizes. And that was Vegas saying hello. Hope you guys don't hear all the noise, but my neighbors are cutting down a really beautiful tree that has to come down, but so you may hear some of the saw buzzing that's taking place in Vegas is saying hi to the guys, but and gals. And so anyway, so that is my notebook that I absolutely love. Done. Throws in my bag. Another thing that I use is my Toiletry 15, and I use this one for my everyday makeup. So anything that I'm wearing that I need to retouch up, I'll just throw in here. And to be honest with you guys, really for me, when I get dressed for the day, whatever lipstick I'm wearing, everything what I have, that's really it. Unless I'm going someplace that evening and I really need to touch up that exact same color, then I'll throw in some of the similar makeup in this bag. But once my makeup is gone for the day, I'm done. I really don't redo it. And only thing I really keep in here is emergency basic colors, like a clear lip balm, then I have a neutral sheer lipstick, and then I have a pinky lipstick, and then some of my lip liners, and then I have my mirror. But regardless, this bag still goes with me every day, and I'll throw it in my pocketbook or my tote, and generally it stays in my tote all day. I really don't walk around with it because there's really no need to, but I do keep it with me at all times no matter what I'm carrying. So that is my third item I wanted to share with you. Now here are just some other little things that I use to organize myself. As I mentioned before, and I don't have it out here for this reason, I do not use my Louis Vuitton wallet anymore. I have it as a crutch, but I really don't, and I should probably sell it, but I don't want to sell it because I love it, but I really don't use it. I don't have any need. And so here's basically what I use every day. And this is an LV card holder. So on one side is my credit cards, my basic credit cards, and my license. And here there's 4 it holds, and a little cash. And then on this side is my grocery store card, and then more business cards. So that's basically how I use this, and still it lays nice and flat, and it's super lightweight. So I absolutely love this card. I could not find it on the website for Louis Vuitton. I'm sure it's still probably available, but I couldn't find it on the website. So I attached the closest thing that I could find to it that was very similar. So that's the one thing that I use. The next thing I use is another card holder. This one is by Chanel. And so it's one big pocket there, and then it has one little pocket there, which I don't really have anything in. But this one I strictly use as for all of my business cards. And so in here I probably have about 30 business cards, and in here I probably have about 10 business cards along with my credit cards and license. So that's how I use these two. And change, you're wondering, okay, where do you keep your change? And so my change, I have a zippy change coin purse. And in here is nothing but change. And then I also have my traditional wire earphones, because I do carry my computer with me every day. And sometimes I just, instead of using my AirPods, because sometimes connection could be bad depending upon where I am, I like to have my old school earphones with me at all times as well. So that's the only 2 things that I have in here. So that works really well, having that all nice and neat. So between these 3 things, I definitely keep these in all with me no matter where store I'm going into. They're with me, and I'm going to show you what I do. So for those items, here is my holy grail go-to grab and go bag. No matter what pocketbook I am carrying, this guy goes with me inside every single pocketbook. And so this is the Toiletry 19 I've shared with you before. So I just right now have a lip balm and some receipts in there, but I'm going to share with you how I use this every single day. So I'm going to throw in the coin purse. I'm going to throw in the Chanel card holder. I'm going to throw in the Louis Vuitton card holder / credit card holder. And also I keep, you guys know, I do some decorating as well. So I am going to throw in my little leather case measuring tape. I'm going to throw in my AirPods. And then also I would be throwing in I have a single key and my cell phone. And when I do that, I know how to place it so it's always fits in there very nice and neat and snug, and then I'm able to zipper it. And that's how, if I go into the store or any place I'm going, this is basically what I do every single day. And if I'm carrying a pocketbook, then it just sits really nice and neat inside of my pocketbook. It's not falling all over the place. And so that's why I say I really don't need to buy those handbag organizers. It saves me money, and I'm using my items as multi-purpose. Now, as you know, I recently just got the Toiletry 26. So I'm really excited because I'm actually going to be using this today for the very first time. And so I'm actually just going to go ahead now and transfer the exact same items I had the 19 into the 26, and I really could still use the 19. It served me really well, and I'm sure I will still use it. It's still going to go with me every day, but having the opportunity to have a little bit more room sometimes is really pretty nice. And so, my gel hand sanitizer. So I am going to, wow, that's like double the size. Yikes. Let me show you. Okay, so this is the 19, which fit everything that I had. And then, so now you can see how much bigger the 26 gives me. And I'm going to stand up and show you. It's still not too big. Like, so yeah, so it's like perfect. You can like put it underneath your arm. The cool thing about the 26, it fits like really nice underneath your arms, or you can still carry it in your hand. Where the 19, I really didn't do that because I felt that was too small. So I always would walk around with the 19 in my hand like that. So that's really the difference between the 19 and the 26, depending upon how you would like to use those, if you would like to purchase either one of those. But I will tell you, out of all of the SLGs that I have, I absolutely love all of them. I would not change anything that I have. Are you on the fence about any of these if you're not really sure? So I'm hoping that helps. Oh, let me tell you what I have on today too. I am wearing a little bit more of color on my lips today, and I am wearing a NARS color. If I can read this, it's called, it's the matte color, and it's called Shap. I think it's called Shap. $29.73. I'll put the information below for you as well. And then I'm going to stand up now and show you what I'm quickly wearing. This is a super old crop Gap jacket that I've had for a super long time, and I've layered a couple of my tanks. So I have a sheer long tank with the under one is the Michael Stars, which you guys know. I have on an old pair of jeans that I have gotten from TJ Maxx over the years. I have on my new gold or Vert bronze Hermes Oran, and I am rocking today my 26. So that is my quick outfit of the day. I hope you guys have a fantastic one, and I'll be seeing you in a couple days. Take care. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.